Okay, so just to repeat, okay, we do the transport layer, we have multiplex and demultiplex, and we finish connectionless and connection-oriented. So connectionless, the protocol for connectionless transport layer, in the transport layer is the UDP, user data protocol. And another one for the connection-oriented, the protocol is TCP, transport control protocol. And then the next one we will do is RDT, reliable data transfer, right? Transfer. So RDT, so this one is, for short name is RDT, reliable data transfer. So we have already done this one in the last class, I think is RDT 1.0 to RDT 3.0. And we discussed the TCP stuff. So RDT 3.0, 1.0 to 3.0 is stop and wait procedure. So we also did in our daily life, in your network, actually we will do is not stop and wait, we will do the pipeline protocol. So pipeline, you have two protocols associated. One is we do bunch of it and go back in, right? We go back in. And another one we did is selective repeat. So this one is the pipelined one. And for the reliable, we have after that we introduce, now we look at the example. So protocol example. This one is TCP, right? So we do the TCP, we look at the segment for the format of the TCP. And yes, any questions?
So is pipelined in contrast to RDT, or is pipelined a type of RDT?
RDT is a kind of reliable principles, but this principle is used for stop and wait. But the pipelined one is just try to speed up this RDT. So it's not a construct to the RDT. It's just when we use it, we try to make our performance, network performance better.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not contradict to each other. No, there's no.
Okay.
So this is just when we use it, we find the problem and try to modify RDT a little bit so that it can accommodate our problem. The major problem is the performance, right? If I think about this scenario, I talk to you. If it's not pipelined, I should stop and wait for you to give me the feedback. Then I can talk my second sentence. This one, the performance will be very bad, right? So, okay, so continue. Can I continue? Okay, so today we will look at how TCP do the retransmission, do the flow control. So today's task is reliable transfer, so retransmission. Actually, we have already done a little bit retransmission for the TCP, but today we will see an example, and then I give you the whole table for the action provided by TCP for retransmission. So last time we did the retransmission for TCP is we set the timeout, right? So when it's timeout, then I will retransmit. So this timeout maybe usually is longer than RTT, right? It's much longer than RTT. So we said that this one, if we want to do the retransmission, you should wait the clock to be timed out, or clock expires for certain packet or certain segment. Then this one you may wait for a long time. Then we will see an example later. So today I will start with the second strategy provided by TCP. We call it a fast transmission, fast retransmission. So fast retransmission actually not wait for the timeout. Of course, you still have the clock, but if I got 3 duplicated acknowledgements, then I will do the retransmission no matter the clock is the clock expires or not. So this one is kind of, we call it a fast retransmission. Usually you get three duplicate ACKs is requires a much lower time, much smaller time than the timeout. So we will see what happens for the faster transmission. So this is our today's job. So today's job, we will do faster retransmission. And we also will do flow control. So flow control tries to guarantee the destination side. So to guarantee the destination side has enough space or enough buffer to hold the data. Okay, so this is the flow control. The purpose is to try to guarantee the destination side has enough buffer to hold the data. So you don't want the destination to be overflow. So if it's overflow, then you lost the data at the destination. It's not good. So if we have time, we will start our congestion control. Congestion control tries to minimize. Actually, you cannot avoid the drop, so the packet drop. So it tries to minimize the congestion, or so the blocking. Sometimes we call it glocking at the network. Okay, so flow control usually is look at the destination buffer, and the congestion control try to look at try to accommodate the status in the network. So this one is 2 controls. Okay, so far so good. Right, now we move to I will share the screen of our PowerPoint. Okay, so I will use this guy. So now let us first look at our, let me see, where is my chatting box? Okay, so can you see my screen? Okay, so we start our first thing is our retransmission scenarios. Okay, so just a briefly review of our last class. So I have 2 hosts, and we have host A send out with the sequential number 92, 8 bytes of data. So my ACK will be 100, right? The next bytes I want to get is 100. Then this time the acknowledgement is disappear. So it's here. So my stuff get lost. So when it's timeout, the host A will transmit it again. This one is already buffered at here, so you get the duplicated data. You will eliminate this duplicated data, but you will send ACK back to say that I lost ACK, but I got the data. So from the destination side point of view. But from the host side of view, it will see, okay, you you get the data correctly, right? No matter which one received, it's to say that, okay, you get the data correctly. So the next one, the next scenario is if my timeout is too short. So I give you the sequential number is 92, and then another one is 100. So it looks like you do the pipeline stuff. So the first one is 8 bytes, the next one is 20 bytes. So the host B give me the feedback, but it's too long. The delay is too long for the ACK to come to the host A. So you will get timeout. So the host A will retransmit for the sequence number 92. So this time is already timeout for 92. So at this moment, it get two ACK. One is ACK 100 and one is ACK 120. So actually, host A will have the idea to see that, okay, this two has already been received correctly by the destination, but I retransmit it, doesn't matter. So host B will eliminate this guy and send out ACK 100 again, because it's get the duplicate data, it will also get the ACK here. So the host A knows that this two has already been received correctly, but it will adjust the new timeout time based on our discussion in the last class. So we estimate the new timeout. Probably the new timeout will be longer because this time the timeout is too short. Hey, this one is a kind of scenario to say that, okay, I got, so ACK, I sent out two stuff, 92 and 100. The first ACK is lost. The second ACK is received by host A. What host A will think about, since I do the cumulative ACK, make sure this is a cumulative ACK, like go back in. So what it means that although I don't get this one, the ACK for 100, but I got ACK for 120. So this time it means I have already, host B has already received this two segment correctly. So the next one A send out will be 120. So since it's cumulative, so I got 120, it means the host has already received 100. So it's no problem. Okay, has already received the 92 and the 100. So this is means of cumulative. There's no need to retransmit sequential with a sequential number 92. Okay, so this is the overview of the ACK generation and its action. Briefly, the first line, the first row, it's the normal. If you get in order and it's the expected sequential number already ACK'd, then TCP will delay the ACK. Wait for another 500 milliseconds for next segment. If no next segment, send ACK. Question, why I do this? Anyone can answer? So anyone? No, it's not to receive all the segments before it's sending the ACK, no. Actually, this one is quite easy to understand. This one is try to save the network, right? Yes, reduce the number of ACKs. So the purpose is try to reduce the number of ACKs because we use the cumulative ACK, right? So if I have the next, if I wait for a while, then I got the next segment come, then I can reduce the number of ACKs, just ACK the next one, not the current one. So it will save my number of ACKs. So ACKs is also the packet, right? So it's you can save it's much better. So this is the idea. So reduce ACKs. So I don't want to have so many ACKs in the network. So, okay, so the next one, if we received a in order segment with expected sequential number, and one other segment has ACK pending, then I will send a cumulative ACK. So if every time I got the segments correctly and with the expected sequential number, it will reduce my ACK half, the number of ACKs into half size, right? If you send 100 segments, you only need 50 ACKs, so it will reduce half size. But this is the perfect scenario. So if it's not perfect, usually you arrive out of order segment higher than the expected number. So this one is actually you create the gap. So you will immediately send a duplicate ACK, indicate which sequential number, segment number, sequential number you want to get. So this is the gap inside. So in this one, it looks like this. So if I have this segment is 80, next I want is 100, but I received is 120. So I'm missing 100, so I will ACK 100 directly. This one is a duplicate ACK, so this one will be sent out. And the last scenario is arrival of segments that partially or completely fills the gap. So for example, if I got this one, 100, so fills the gap, then what I will do, so I will ACK the next, for example, for 120 segments, I got 20 bytes. So the next byte I want is 140. So I will send out 140, ACK 140 to the sender. So this means I close the gap here. But if you still have the others inside, not to fill totally, completely fill the gap, then you will find the lowest end of the gap. So you will send ACK for that one. Right, so this is the TCP acknowledgement generation. So now we look at, usually our timeout period often relatively long delay before the resending the last packet, because we should give enough time for the receiver to receive the packet from the sender. So our timeout usually very long. But this one, the long timeout means that you will get many duplicated ACK. So for example, you send out those things, and this one is with 10, this is 20, this is 30, this is 40. Okay, every time you get 10 more, 50, 60, and 70. If it looks like this, so if I'm missing 20, and the timeout time is very long, it's from here to here. So for the 20 timeout is from the beginning to here. So when the receiver gets 30 segment with sequential number 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, it will send ACK20, right? Because it's there's a gap here. So if it's a gap here, so you will send out ACK20, 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 ACK20 5 times in this example. So 5 times is 2 minutes until it gets a timeout for 20. So this one is probably, it will wait for a long, very, very long time before you can fill in this gap. If you cannot fill in this gap, your destination, your receiver should hold all the remaining segments in their buffer. So it's not a good idea to hold so many data at the buffer, cannot deliver to the upper layer. So what we will do is we actually create a scenario to say we want faster retransmission. So if you, so the first, when you receive 10, it will ACK 20. I want 20. You get 30, you will add ACK 20. This is the first duplication. When you get 40, you get another ACK for 20. This is another duplication. Then when you get 50, you get another duplication. So when I got 3 duplicate ACK 3 times, I will retransmit. Seems it looks like at most cases, the segment with sequential number 20 has been lost. So this is the idea. So let us see this example. So I got 90, 92, 100, then 120, 40, 60, 160. So when I lost the packet at the sequential number 100, you first get, this one is the normal. So this one is the normal. The red line is the normal. Then we see the yellow line. So yellow line 1, yellow line 2, yellow line 3 is the duplication. So I have 3 duplicate. So this 3 duplication indicates that in this case, probably host B cannot receive this segment, and this segment is lost in the network. So I will retransmit instead of to wait this long timeout. Okay, I can do retransmission. So any questions? Okay, so we look at the example. You may ask, I hope some guy will ask if the timeout is short, but the ACK. Well, how about the ACK? So 3 duplication. So here, let us see some examples. I will draw certain things. Okay, so 3 duplication. This one is give me the idea. Okay, so let us see some examples when we draw duplication. So we will have certain kind of test. So okay, so we have 100 here, 120 here. So in the actual scenario, my TCP will do ACK here. If it's acknowledged. So this one will be ACK for 150, 140, right? So this one is 160. So now questions, what is the ACK here? What is the number here? So this one, so anyone can tell me? Please, everyone tell me your answer. I have 100, 140, 180. I have 160. Okay, everything. $20 bytes each. So the correct answer here should be 100. 180. Okay, so further, it's not finished. 180 will be the correct answer. Why? Because this time the host B, the receiver side, it already get 100, 120, 140, 160 correctly. So the next thing it wants is 180, right? So this one is the answer. So now if my timeout is here, so this is my timeout. This is the timeout time. Okay, since this is timeout, so timeout is here. So what is the sender will send? So suppose the ACK 180 is not received by the sender at this moment. So it will do this way. Draw this time. Oh, I have this one. Okay, at this moment, what is the sequential number for this line? Okay, the correct answer here is 100 because it's a treat 100 timeout, although it's ACK later is here. So it's retransmission will do 100 because it's treated like a 100 is has been lost. Okay, so let us see another scenario. Okay, the second scenario. We will do faster retransmission. So here, do 100. Okay, 140 is eliminate. So, but I have the scenario looks like this. So at this moment, I got this guy ACK'd, this guy ACK'd. So, okay, so now this time, don't need this guy. Just need to put this guy. Okay, so my question is here. So for this transmission, what is the sequential number for this one? Anyone can tell me what is the sequential number? Okay, so this sequential number should be 140. Why? Because this one we say that we just see 3 duplicated ACKs, then we will retransmit, right? So this one, this ACK for 160, based on the rule to say there's a gap, so I will directly ACK it. So this time, this guy will have 140, ACK 140. For this line. And for this line is also 140 and 140 for the remaining 2 lines. And the last one, although this one is the first ACK, you can see that, but it's a delay for a long time. So this time you get 3 duplicate 140 and you have 1 original 140. So finally you get 3 duplicate ACK. So you will do faster retransmission. So this time faster retransmission happens. Faster retransmission. So we will do 140. So make sure you consider the faster retransmission at here. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so we move forward from the transmission to the flow control. So I will share the screen with the flow control. So the flow control very easy, just 2 or 3 sentences can finish. So at the destination, you cannot forward your stuff directly to the application layer. So you will create a certain buffer inside your computer to receive the segment and make a certain portion. When you gathering enough data, then you will upload or you will send to the up layer. But you should make sure that the sender will not send too much data to the destination. Otherwise, it will make the socket buffer here. So your buffer overflow. So you don't want it to overflow. Then how do I do this work is, okay, I have the free buffer size, I have the buffer the data, and this one is to the application layer. Then I will use the whole size created by the TCP minus the received buffer. And this is the receive window. So RW and D. So this one has already used. So receive buffer is the whole thing. And then the buffer the data you have already used that place. And then RWND is the receiver window. This is the actual size you want to receive the data. So usually your buffer size will be 4 kilobytes, means 4096 bytes by default. And this is the buffer size. And then you can get the segment and tell the sender. So tell the sender where how much you can receive. So you put the free buffer size into the receiver window. So this one, when you do the ACK, you will send back to the sender to indicate how much you can receive further. So this one is the flow control. Hey, that's all for flow control. It's quite easy because it's controlled by the destination. Definitely, the destination knows how big it is. Okay, so now we move forward to our congestion control. Congestion control is a little bit crazy. Why? Because flow control, the destination know how much I have. But the congestion control is you guess the network status. So if too many sources sending too much data too fast for the network to handle, then this causes the congestion. But this is informally, okay? If you want a formal definition, it's very headache to define. Actually, this congestion means you can treat like in our H1. So these days H1 is pretty good. Previously during the traffic jam, so usually it's a congestion looks like a traffic jam on our highway during the rush hour. So you will see that there's a congestion, too many cars enter the highway. So it will be very, very bad performance. Oh, one question is what does the sender do if the destination is full? Stop sending. Okay, stop sending. Because this one, if you send out, still the destination will drop your packet, so it will just stop it. Right, stop sending, but it will let the, so the receiver side will tell the sender side what is the available buffer size it will be. So next time, so then it will be okay. Right, so let's move on to the congestion. So if there's no the congestion, so if you are the sender, so if you drive a car, unless you go to the H1, you don't know whether it's a congestion or not congestion. So yeah, so this time, if you are the sender, you don't know whether the network is congested or not congested until you send the packet and see the acknowledgement back. So this one is a little bit crazy and it's different from the flow control. Flow control, the destination definitely have the idea, but the congestion control, no idea. But what can indicate congestion happens? One thing is lost packet. This means the buffer overflow at routers, and you have a long delays queuing in router buffers, so that you you suffer a long delays. So you probably know that there's a congestion happens. So now we move forward to see some theoretical background for the congestion control. So we see the easy case. So we have two hosts and send to the two destinations. What happens, they share the link. So there's a router in here. So the router, the buffer size cannot be infinity. So you have the limited buffer size. So if the first scenario, we consider the router has infinity capacity so that we can analyze easier. So we have infinity amount of data, amount of buffers at the router, and the output link buffer, output link has the capacity R. So what is the congestion? So if every arriving data packet is less than R/2, it should be good. The throughput will be good. So you can go on to do the throughput if you, and these two hosts keep sending data, so keep busy. So finally, they will reach the point to say that everyone get half of the output link capacity. Everyone agree? So it will be, looks like that. So the delay, you can see that when you close to R/2, your delay will be longer and longer because there's too many packets inside, and the output buffer, output link has a capacity. So you should wait for for a long time because the capacity is full. So you will see large delays. But this one is just a good case is we have infinity buffer, so you will not see any packet loss because you have infinity buffer. But in our scenario, this infinity buffer does not exist. So what we will see is our router, we have the capacity on the output link. We also have the capacity for the router. So if we have no transmission, then we can original data, right? So there's no retransmission, so it's already equals to the application layer input. But since our buffer at the router is limited, so we may also add a retransmission because it's lost at here. So you don't get ACK. You get ACK for the next packet and you get 3 times ACK for the same expected packet segment. So you probably will do retransmission. So your arrival rate will be bigger than the original data rate. So what will happen? So if you have perfect knowledge, then you can reserve the router buffer, right? Or you can do is, if I know the buffer size, available buffer, then I just send enough data to the buffer. So I will not go beyond the buffer at the router if I have the knowledge, but this one is not the case. No, but if it looks like this, I copy, okay, free buffer space, and then go to the output. So if I have the knowledge, I will use for this two hosts share the same link, same router. If I have the knowledge, then this one is the best performance is at here, right? I use half of the buffer size of the output link, so everything will be good. But this one is definitely I have no idea about the buffer size. Perfect knowledge is not available for me. So what I will do is, suppose I know loss. So packet can be lost and drop at the router due to the full buffers. Sender only resends if packet know to be lost. So what does it mean? It means that I have the knowledge of the lost packet. No buffer space is lost. It tells the sender, so the sender will send again. If it's a free space, then it goes out. Okay, so this is what I mean. I know loss. So if it's come to the bin, it will be here. So this means that I will not achieve this point when the output link is R/2, but it's a little bit lower because I should add a certain kind of retransmission packet. But finally, these two guys, A and B, will approaching R/2 finally. Although at this arrival rate, I will not approaching this one, but if I go a little bit beyond, it will be okay. So this one is too good to be true because I cannot have any idea about the router buffer, whether it's available or not available. I have no idea when the router drop my packet. So in the real world, what I will do is a packet can be lost, drop at the router due to the full buffers, send a timeout prematurely, sending 2 copies both to which are delivered. So this is the real case. We look at the animation. So I make the copy. So free buffer size, I go there. But it's time out. So two copies will be sent to the destination. So it will be even further decrease your throughput, as well as there's no way for you to approach in R/2. So this is in scenario. In the scenario, we have two hosts share one link, one router. So this is the scenario. We studied this scenario is a theoretical study. Then what we want to do is the cost of congestion is more work, more retransmission for given good put. Need retransmission, link carries multiple copies of packet, so decrease the throughput. This is throughput is good throughput means I don't, a good throughput is actually you try to fully use of the link capacity. But this fully use of may not that good because most of time when you're approaching here, if you have too many retransmission, although your throughput here is good, but your useful information is not that good. So we have even complicated scenario I will not go over. And we can jump into our scenario is actually what it look like. So if you increase your packet, so this is the line for the scenario in the network. So when you increase the sending rate, at the beginning, you will get a better performance in the output. So this one is the throughput. So you will see a good throughput. Okay, so your packet will fully use of the link and you will not retransmit too many packets. So when you have this sending rate, but after a certain point, your performance will decrease. Even if you increase your sending rate, this increase in your sending rate will cause you too many retransmission. If you have too many retransmission actually to the receiver side, thinking this one is useless because you send duplicated data. It's not useful. The receiver only need one copy is good enough. So this time you will decrease the useful throughput. And when you come to finally, you will see that at this moment, you will see that your throughput is very low because your transmission, your sending will do most of time you will do is retransmission. So this is not good. So we want to find this point. So what is the I want to find is this point. But no one can tell me. So what we will do in the network. So our TCP approach, I will introduce a little bit about the retransmission. We're talking about the congestion control by the TCP. We call it a congestion window, CWND. So congestion window. The idea is, okay, I will try my lucky. So I will increase the sending rate. Okay, I will increase the sending rate and hope it will get a good AC case, means it does not suffer the congestion until at some point TCP will say that, okay, I lost your packet. Then I have two scenarios I can do. One is I directly go back to 1 at the beginning and increase. Okay, another way is I cut the window to half. So that, and I will do slowly increase. Okay, so now we look at our stuff. So this is the TCP looks like. So I increase my sending rate until I find I lost the packet. Then I will decrease. And then I will carefully increase my sending rate until I hit the second packet loss. Then I will decrease and then increase a little bit. So now this is looks like the TCP will do. But I will introduce two scenarios, two TCP congestion control. One is called Reno, one is called Tahoe. So let us see. No matter your Reno or Tahoe, we will do the first one is called the slow start. Slow start actually not that slow. So the slow start, the idea is, okay, the first one, I will send my congestion window to one maximum segment size. So one segment, you can treat it like one segment. If it's get successful received, then I will double the congestion window. Okay, it will be 2. And then if it's all received correctly, then I will double. It will give me 4 segments, and then I will double. So it looks like I increase. How do I detecting and reacting to loss? So the loss is maybe indicated by the timeout. Then I will do, I will set my congestion window to 1 go back to 1 segment, and we'll do slow start another. Another way is the loss indicated by 3 duplicate AC case. Then TCP Reno will say, okay, I will cut the current control window size to half and grow linearly. So every time I will increase by 1. If you deal with TCP Tahoe, it always set congestion window back to 1, no matter it's timeout or 3 duplicate AC case. So this is the whole window for the congestion control. So in the congestion control, you can see that this is the Tahoe. And the TCP Reno will do the same thing at the beginning, is still start from 1, then 2, then 4, then 8. Okay, so Tahoe will do another thing is I will also create a threshold, but it's I will not do it. I will do it in next class. So what is without, so I will stop sharing and we look at the whiteboard. So the idea for that one is for Tahoe. So I will first go 1, then go 2, then 4, then 8, then 16. Suppose we don't set up the threshold window, okay? So next class, I will do the threshold window. So if I next time I do 32 and find that there's a loss happen, oh, really? Let me see the sharing. We share the whiteboard. Can you see now? Okay, so okay, without the threshold, so we don't set up the threshold at this moment. So next time, next class, we will do this with the threshold. So Tahoe without the threshold, it will do, okay, 1 slow start, then go to 8, then go to 16. Then if it's have certain kind of loss happen, then I will go back to 1. Okay, I will send 1, then slow start. Okay, so it will go like this way. So this is Tahoe. Reno. Renault without threshold, we will do is 1, 2, 4, 8, then 16. So if this one happens is the timeout, if it's timeout, it will go 1, and it will do the slow start. But at this time, if it's not based on the timeout, it's not the clock timeout, it will do another work is, okay, this is 4, then 8, then 16. This one is due to 3 duplicate ACKs. Then it will not go back to 1, it will do 8. So cut half size. And then increase linearly, okay? It's not double the size, okay? It will increase linearly. So Renault is based on what kind of loss? Loss based on the timeout or loss based on 3 duplicated ACKs? So they have in Renault, it has different strategies. Timeout loss is probably means congestion, or you lost at the buffer at the router. So you will slow start to retreat a lot. But if you get 3 duplicated ACKs, this probably, it means that it may not lose, maybe it's just a long delay. Long delay means that your router at the network may still have the space, but it's almost full. So that's why it will not cut back to 1, it will cut back to half the size. But it will test linearly, it will increase linearly, so that it will try a little bit, okay, retreat a little bit, not retreat totally. But this one is still not finished our congestion control. We will set our threshold, then we will see what happens and what we will do with Renault or with Tahoe. Okay, so that's all for today's class. Till now I got 8, so I stop. I will not share. No, I will stop sharing and